Hello, welcome to the Quakes Motel. My name's Conan, I'm the concierge. Beat first or sample first? Let's jump in. So I've been having a little bit of a rearrangement over the last couple of days. So this is just going to be a talking. This is just going to be a talking heads video rather than showing something on the MPC. So I was going through some of the questions that I'd had from people on my channel, and this question comes up quite a lot. And I noticed this one, and I thought a lot of producers, content creators, etc., have made videos about this. So I thought I'd throw my 2 pence worth in. Do you start with the beat first, or do you start with the sample first? And obviously, it's completely subjective. There's no right or wrong. Don't let anybody tell you that there is a right way of doing it or a wrong way of doing it, because there simply isn't. And the thing is, for me as well, is it changes. Sometimes I will go through a period of time when I only ever start with the beat, and then I'll go for a period of time where I only start with the sample. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly, just to kind of give you a bit of an insight into my thought process as to why I sometimes start with a beat and why I sometimes start with a sample, because, you know, it might be different for different people. So hopefully it will inspire you in some way. Now, if you watch my videos about production, crate digging, all that kind of stuff, you will know, because I go on about it quite a lot, that I crate dig every single day. Pretty much every single day without fail. I put aside a period of time where I'm just listening to music, have listening sessions, go through old albums that I've digitized from years ago, go through new stuff. And what I do is, as I go through those albums, if I hear something that sticks out, be it a loop, a drum sound, a stab, a little bit of vocal or something, I put them into particular folders. And my dedicated listening sessions are there so that when I want to get creative, I have folders that I can go to, and I've already got inspiration, because there's nothing worse than writer's block. There's nothing worse than turning your MPC on, for instance, and just sitting there staring at it thinking, where do I start? So when I have these folders set into particular folders, which I'll explain in a second, it gives me somewhere to start. It gives me inspiration. So the way that I split my folders up is I have acapellas, I have stabs and rolls folder. So that'd be drum rolls, stabs in records, etc. I have dedicated loop folders, but I have different types of loop folders. I will have, and this is going to go on to starting with the sample first. I will have folders where I'll hear something and it's such a standout sample. It's such a big sample, a big loop, that it will go into my big loop, big sample folder. And then I have things which I'll hear, which might just be a horn line or a little bit of saxophone, or it might be a bass line, or it might be something like a synth kind of thing, or maybe some strings off a film score. That will go in a different folder, and that will come along, it will come into play when I start with a beat. So for instance, you know, to give you an idea, I would say something like, if you know the song Unwind Yourself by Marvel Whitney, which 45 King sampled for the 900 number, if I'd have heard that sample before the 45 King, rest in peace, had heard it, that would have gone in my big sample folder, because it's such a catchy line, it's such a big sample, that for me, I would base a track around that horn loop. So I would start with the sample. And that's what that folder will be. It will be big loops that I find. And for me, it will create the basis of the entire track, or it will be the hook in the entire track. So I will start with that sample. You know, kind of things that fall into that category are a lot of kind of soul samples, northern soul samples. But, you know, it can be anything, you know, I mean, but it will be something that I'll listen to and I'll think, right, that's going to go in my folder of hooks, of big samples. And in that case, that will be something that I will sample into my MPC, and then I will chop up or not chop up, and I will build the track around that loop, around that sample, and I will add the drums afterwards. Now, adding the drums afterwards could be one shots. It could be a beat that I've made up completely of sample snares and kicks and stuff that I've taken from different sources, or it can be another loop of a break, or it could be a break that I've sampled and then I've chopped it up and remade the break. But that will be when I will start with the sample. And I mean, actually, I saw an interview with Alchemist recently where he was going on about the fact that he always used to start with the sample, and it's weird. A lot of producers that I speak to or that I've seen in interviews will say that that's what they did when they first started. They will have a sample and then they'll put a beat to the sample. And Alchemist was saying that he found that limiting after a while. And now he starts with the beats and then he'll layer stuff over the top of it. Now, for me, the master of that whole process, the beat first process or the layering process is Madlib. I mean, that guy is from another planet. Seriously, if you listen, if you really examine deeply into detail, go into how he makes tracks. Sometimes, I mean, I consider myself to be, I've been sampling for 40 years plus and stuff, and I crate dig every day. So I put myself at brown belt, possibly even black belt, without being big headed. I've been doing it for a long time, but I still can't fathom sometimes how Madlib does things. He's just an absolute genius. And that word gets thrown around a lot. But for me, I think what Alchemist was saying, going back to my point, was that when he starts with the drum beat, he then gets different parts which he then layers. And that's where I'm going to go into now, where I will start with the drum beat. Now, I know this is sort of making sense because this is really just totally off the cuff. I haven't got a script or anything on this. So when I start with the drum beat, one of my favorite things to do, and there's various reasons for this, is just making beats, nothing else, just taking some kicks, snares, hats, etc., or taking a break and chopping it up and remaking the break. You'll know that from my videos. It's actually one of my favorite things, is taking a well-known break like Ashley's Roach clip or Funky Drummer or something like that, and remaking a break out of it so that people hear it and they go, well, that's Ashley's Roach clip, but it's not. So where did he get that part from? That's one of my favorite things. And I do that as practice, the same way a guitarist will, practice licks or, solo over the top of they'll jam over a blues record or whatever, it's practice. So to keep my chops up, excuse the pun, I will just make beats. I'll literally have a day where I just make beats, and all those beats are sat there. Now, there's two reasons. Well, actually, there's probably more than two reasons why I do that. One is for the practice, and the other is, again, if I'm stuck. If I sit down and think, right, I want to make something, where do I start? I've got all these beats already made up. Now, I might start completely afresh when I turn my MPC on, and I might make a beat from the start. But I've always got those beats that are made, which I use for practice. They're there, sat there, and I can go back to them. And I've heard, again, using Alchemist as an example, actually it wasn't Alchemist that said it. It was somebody else that worked with him, maybe Freddie Gibbs, that he will play, he'll make a loop, a track, a beat, etc., and then it won't get used. And then 5 or 6 years later, he'll bring it up and he'll play it to somebody and they'll go, dude, that's the one, I want that. So it's recycling your beats, etc. I said, well, not even recycling, because he hadn't used it in the first place. But those beats will sit there and I will use them if I feel I've got a bit of writer's block, or, I need a bit of inspiration. But with the beat first, the type of tracks I tend to make with the beat first are very different to the tracks that I make with the sample first. With the sample first, as I said, that it tends to be a hook that I'll find and I'll build around that hook. And it can be, playing more stuff over the top of it, playing like some keys over the top of it, or getting a saxophone solo or whatever. But with the drum beat first, I will be more looking into layering. So the folder that I have set aside when I crate dig for that does tend to be things like film scores, sound effects albums, dialogue albums. So I'll have the drum beat there, and I'm going to show this in my workflow video, which I'm working on at the moment as part of my workflow videos. I will basically I'll have the beat playing, and then I will play these other loops, these other samples and stuff over the top of it and see what works. And I'll build, and that way you can, I can find a horn line or something from a jazz track, or a Rhodes or a clavinet or a piano line or whatever. And then from a completely different record, I'll play something else over the top and I think, oh, those horns, they work with that. Oh, wow, that goes in tune. I mean, I love those happy accidents that you have sometimes where you'll have a loop going over the top of a beat, you'll have a jazz piano or something and the bass line's already there. You'll put a low pass filter on it, filter all the high end off, and you just got the bass line. Then you'll start playing some horns over top of it off a completely different record or a guitar line or something, and it sits over the top perfectly in tune when it's perfectly in time. Those happy little accidents, when they happen, you know, I kind of you start feeling that maybe it was destiny that you were going to find that sample at that time and that sample at that time, and you're going to layer them over the top. So I think what I'm trying to say is the point of this is when I start with the drum beat, I do tend to make tracks which tend to be layers of samples, rather than with the sample first, it tends to be a hook that I will build around. So kind of in conclusion to that, because I literally could talk about this all day, because I find it absolutely fascinating. And I love, you know, please below, leave your comments on what you do. You know, do you do beats first? Do you do samples first? And what's your thought process behind doing a beat first? And what's your thought process behind doing the sample first? So getting to in conclusion, like I said, and still managed to ramble for another 30 seconds. Do I tend to do beat first, or do I tend to do sample first? And the thing is, for me, is it changes. It changes every single day. It changes every time I turn my MPC on. It just depends on how I feel that day. It depends on what kind of, you know, what kind of end result that I want. What I do quite often have, and I think I'm blessed to have this. I feel that I'm gifted to have this. Is when I start, I do quite often have a vision in mind of where I want to end up. And I wish that I could teach that. I wish that I could get that out of myself or write it into a book. But it's just something that's just there. I don't know where it comes from, but I do have a vision. So because I have this vision, that's where I can choose, do I start with a beat or do I start with a sample? And what folder am I going to go to? Am I going to go to my breaks folder, or am I going to go to my big hooks folder, or am I going to go to my film score, relaxy, lo-fi, jazzy type sort of folder where I'm going to find a single chord from somewhere and I'm going to lay it over a beat? So if you were ever to ask me the question, do I do beat first or do I do sample first? You can watch this video, or I will answer this. It changes every single day. Thanks for watching. This is A Crake's My Tail. My name's Conan. I'm the concierge. Until next time. Concierge.